Hey, it's Mark Striegel. Welcome to another edition of the Talking Metal podcast. We are back with another interview on this episode. It's the one and only John 5, as interviewed by Emily Striegel, and she's here with me now. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. And let's talk a little bit about this interview. It is, in theory, it was to promote his new live record, It's Alive, which will be out momentarily. It's probably actually already out by the time we're posting this. So, again, it's a live record recorded in Pennsylvania, I believe.
Yeah. And it was totally spontaneous, too. It was not something that he had planned on doing. It was like an opportunity the club gave him, like kind of on the spot. And they just did it. And so that was the biggest thing, piece of information I got from this interview that was pretty cool.
Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing the interview, and of course, wow, what a history I have with seeing this guy play live. The first time I saw him play live, I don't even think he was going by John 5 yet. It was like John Lowry, is that his name? Yeah, something like that. But anyways, he was playing with Rob Halford at Irving Plaza, and they didn't play any Priest, from what I remember. It was strictly the Two project that he did, which I was a fan of at the time, and Tony Iommi was on the bill, and it was supposed to be Two, basically Rob Halford and John 5 and their band, and then at the end, Tony Iommi was going to come out and do Sabbath songs with him, and so Tony Iommi canceled, and they didn't tell anybody that until the very end of the show, and people were got kind of pissy. And it was an intense moment. They were there because a lot of people have to say were there because they thought it was going to be Halford jamming with Tony Iommi for at least some of the set, and it never happened. And
he probably blew your socks off first time you saw him, because technically he's just such an out of this world player. First time I saw him was with Manson. And Manson is the one who gave him the John 5 name. Did you know that?
Yes, I think I did, yeah. So this was before John 5.
Yeah, exactly. So first time I saw him was with Manson, and I think I saw him at least twice with Manson, and just always thought he had this like larger-than-life persona. And come to find out in the interview, that's not really his style at all. He's actually a pretty, I don't know if the shy is the word, or, he's just kind of reserved and not really larger-than-life like he seems to be.
Yeah, and he also did some amazing work with David Lee Roth. Why don't we get into, right now, a little work that he did with David Lee Roth. This was going way back to the 90s, the David Lee Roth Band. This song right here is called Slam Dunk. It's the opening song on the David Lee Roth Band record. Again, that's from 1998. Had Betty Page on the cover in front of an American flag, which, to me, those two images, very David Lee Roth-esque, if you will. So again, this is Slam Dunk by David Lee Roth and John Lowry, a.k.a. John 5, going back to 1998. A little David Lee Roth here on Talking Metal, Slam Dunk. What a great overlooked record that was, the DLR Band record from 1998. I'm here with Emily. We're going to right now get into her interview. Emily, I wanted to play a little bit of music off of this new record that's out, It's Alive, by John 5 and John 5 and the Creatures, right?
That's right.
Cool. And without further ado, this is Season of the Witch, brand new, John 5 and the Creatures, off of the It's Alive record. Definitely pick this up on iTunes, buy the single song, or just buy the whole album. That's what I recommend. It's, again, called It's Alive by John 5 and the Creatures. That's the name of the record. This song right here, Seasons of the Witch, followed by Emily Striegel's interview with the one and only John 5.
Hello, Talking Metal listeners. This is Emily Striegel with my first interview of 2018, and how lucky am I that it's with none other than guitarist extraordinaire John 5. How are you doing today, John?
I'm well. How are you today?
I'm great. We're getting pelted by a snowstorm here on the East Coast right now, but I'm hanging in there.
You know, we're having a pretty rough winter over here in LA too. We had to use like more sunscreen than usual for winter time, and sometimes we have to turn the air conditioner on the car, so it's pretty tough over here too.
Oh, you just got to rub it in, don't you? That we're
Well, I'll be there soon, so I'll experience it firsthand.
I know. Pretty ballsy of you to. We'll talk a little bit about your tour coming up, but that's pretty ballsy of you to do a Midwest and an East Coast tour starting February 1st, huh?
You know, it's just how the scheduling goes because I'm so busy with Zombie in the summertime and stuff. So it's kind of my only window, if you will.
Well, we're happy about it because we always have kind of a shortage of shows in the wintertime. So we'll be thrilled to have you. So I want to talk to you about your new live album with your solo act, The Creatures. It's called It's Alive. So tell me a little bit about the album and how it came about.
Well, it kind of, I always wanted to do I've only been touring with The Creatures for a few years now. And, but we have so much fun. I mean, it's really, really difficult, and we kind of see how perfect we can get it every night, because it is so difficult. It's kind of like, juggling or something like that. So we want to see how perfect we can get it. And I was like, man, it'd be really fun to do a live record, but you have to carry so much equipment and other employees, and it's really, really difficult to do a live record when you're touring how we are touring. So, I wasn't really thinking that much of it. And then we were in Sellersville, Pennsylvania at the Sellersville Theater, and we were setting up like, the guys were setting up usually like we do every day. And the guy at the venue said, "Hey, would you guys like to record the show?" And we were like, "Sure." And he goes, "We have a recording facility right up there." And I said, "Sure." And so I, gathered the guys around and I said, "Listen, we have one shot to
wow.
do this. So let's not jump around. Let's really just look at each other, concentrate." And we were, pretty well into the tour, so we were well rehearsed. And I explained to the crowd that we're recording tonight, and that's why we're not jumping around. And all of this dialogue is on the record too, because I'm talking to the crowd. And I just thought it would be really fun to share that on the record because it was so unexpected, and there's no overdubs. There's no nothing. It's a real live record. It was just captured like that. And,
that's amazing. That is so cool. It was totally spontaneous. Wow.
Yeah, I'm so proud of it, too. And back in the day when we were growing up, bands toured their live record, like Kiss Alive or Kiss Alive 2. They had shirts and tours of the Kiss Alive 2 tour or something like that. So I thought, man, wouldn't it be fun to go and promote this album and go tour it just like bands did back in the day? Because now, you'll see a band release a record and they're like, "Hey, check out our live record," and then that's it. But we're going to go support it, and we're going to sell tour books and all shirts, and, we'll have a great time, and because we're so proud of it.
Very cool. So the album title, It's Alive. Immediately, I'm thinking, okay, John 5 is a big horror fan. This is a Frankenstein reference, of course. It's alive. And then I was like, no, it's Kiss Alive. It's a Kiss Alive reference. So, am I on track making those connections with the album title?
It is all three. It's Alive, Frankenstein, It's Alive, like it's a live record, and Kiss Alive, yeah, or any live record. And it's all of that. And I was like so happy with it. I was like, I want to put this out because it sounds great. And it just shows the hard work and all that stuff, how it comes together. The only thing I changed, to be honest, is we took something out. I'm just going to tell you this story. I know Ian, our bass player, will die, but backstage, he was eating something and didn't agree with him, and he had terrible diarrhea. And I was talking about that. I was talking about it on stage, And he said, please don't put that on the record. And that's the only thing we took out on the record.
That is hysterical. I can't believe you would talk about your bandmate's diarrhea on stage. That is so not cool, dude.
You know, I don't have a routine rap. You know, I'm not that guy. I can play guitar and stuff, but once I'm in front of a microphone, I kind of clam up and I don't know what to say. And so I just kind of talk normal, like how I would talk to you or anyone else. So that's what I said. And because I really don't have a routine rap like you guys rock or anything like that. You know, I just say what's on my mind.
It's funny you say that because I was just watching, I love documentaries, and I finally saw Hired Gun, which for our listeners, a lot of people have seen this already. It's about session and touring musicians that are kind of hired by well-established artists. And you gave a really interesting interview in that. And one of the things I was surprised to hear you say was that you never really wanted to be a rock star. You wanted to be a session musician.
That's right.
Is that because you don't have that natural, because to me, you're a natural performer and you have that rock star swagger. It seems to come very easily to you, but you're saying that's not the case to you?
It's not. I hate to travel. When I was a kid, I'm just, I'm not going to give you the bullshit answer of blah, 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 blah. I'm going to give you the real life answer. And what it was, when I was a kid, I was on an airplane and I had the worst experience. It was traumatic. And so ever since then, I was like, well, I hate to travel. I'm not going to travel. This is, brutal. It was so traumatic for me. And but I was a musician. I was a little kid, and I knew that musicians traveled. I didn't really know much about it, but I thought, well, I saw this little movie called Session Man in 1980 or something like that, and I was like, that's what I'll do. I don't have to travel. I'll just be a session guy. And that's the real reason. That's the honest to God reason. But good thing I got over it.
Yeah, you got over it, and we're all lucky to have you in our musical world here. But that movie, though, I really enjoyed it. But one thing that bothered me about it, and I want to get your opinion on this, is that Alice Cooper kept on referring to this chorale of musicians and saying, we know who all the grade A musicians are. It's a small group, and I don't know about that. I don't know if I agree with that. I know I lived in New York City for years and years and years. So I know a lot of musicians who aren't in that chorale, of studio and touring players. And I think he totally dismissed elements like luck and timing and even geography. And that bothered me a little bit. So what are your thoughts on because you were discovered, I read something, were you discovered by Rudy Sarzo, at a club gig early on in LA, or what's your story? What do you think about that?
That's exactly right. I was playing in a band called Alligator Soup. First of all, horrible name, but you'll never forget it, But, we played in L.A. at the Gazzarri's and the Whiskey and the Roxy, on the Strip. And there was this one lady who was like, oh, you should see this guitar player. He's, something or whatever. And she told Rudy, because Rudy wanted to put a band together. And this was like when Whitesnake was like huge, they were like, gods. And I remember we were playing at Gazzarri's. There was no one there. And it was Rudy Sarzo and his wife right at the front of the stage. And I was like, oh, my God. It's like, Beyonce coming to your show or something
seriously.
like that. It's like they were so huge, They were selling out arenas at this time. And so I'm like, oh, my God, Rudy Sarzo's here. So we were all psyched up. And we start with this little, instrumental thing. And then the singer comes out and he starts singing. So we're playing our thing and we're really doing it. And, he's the only one in the crowd, and him and his wife.
God, no pressure.
So yeah. So we're playing and the singer comes down, but he bumps his head because it's dark. He bumps his head on something like a low ceiling when he's coming down the stairs. And blood starts coming down his face profusely. And he's singing, there's blood, and and he touches his hand and sees the blood, and he just goes, guitar solo, and he runs backstage, and I'm doing this guitar solo. And Rudy Sarzo thought it was all part of the gig, and he was like, "This is amazing,"
That's crazy.
But it wasn't planned that way. So, he took me out to breakfast. I'll never forget it. Denny's. It was like 2 a.m, and he said, "I want to start this band." And the next day, I was in a office with Trudy Green, who, at the time managed Mick Jagger and Janet Jackson and all these people, and I was living in a rehearsal room with no bathroom. So yeah, it's so weird how it happens.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I do believe that, people who are talented are oftentimes, discovered, but there are elements, it's not just like we know who all the talent is. There are elements of luck and the sliding doors kind of things. If that girl hadn't sent Rudy to your show, no.
Yeah, there is also, like when you're touring and you are, doing your thing and all this stuff, there is a small group of musicians that you use for touring and things like that. So that's probably what Alice meant, because, you know everybody, and you have to be familiar with that person, if you will.
Right.
And that's probably what he meant.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think Rob Zombie, everyone on our podcast knows you've worked with Rob a ton and are still working with him. But I think he said something like, you have to have the chops, you have to have the swagger, and you got to be able to get along with the person on the road because you're living with the person.
That's true.
So, yeah, there's a lot of that.
That is true.
So I want to go back to the album. So one thing... this is going to be, you're releasing this on vinyl. I'm excited about this. And you're doing a book. So do they come together? Do you get the vinyl and the book together? And what is the book?
Well, the book is a tour book. Like, we're releasing a tour book, like a real, like, amazing tour book, like you got back in the day,
I love it.
So there's a tour book that goes with it, and there's vinyl, and, God, we spent so much time on, on these images and the recording and the mastering. So, I just am really excited for people to hear it. And it comes out on the 25th of January, really soon.
Yes. So what about the VIP package? I was reading about that as well on the tour. So people who get this can get VIP tickets. What do they get with that?
Well, that's a really, and I'm, very, 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 it's very important to me because I was that kid, So what it is sometimes the VIP situation lasts longer than the concert. And I'm not exaggerating because, you come up and you get all your stuff and you get a bunch of merchandise, just like you do with any meet and greet. You get tons of stuff, you get pictures, blah, blah, blah. But what happens is then we sit and we have our sound check and we play and we play and we play. And we have so much fun. We just mess around. And sometimes it'll go for an hour and a half, people hanging out and talking and all that stuff. So sometimes, in the beginning, there's more meet and greets sold than there are tickets at first, because everybody wants to get it because there's only a certain amount of people we can get in. And it's so important, and I love talking to the people, and, there's a lot of repeat people coming to these meet and greets because, you create a bond with these fans, and it's so important because I was that kid too. Yeah. And it's if it's not for them, nothing's going to happen.
That's really cool. I like to hear the fact that you're doing it for the right reason and that you still are connected, and you still remember what it was like to be a fan. So that's really cool to hear.
It's so important to me because, this sticks with people for the rest of their lives sometimes, because what we're doing is so important compared to just getting up on stage or, doing this, signing a couple autographs. What we're doing, these people cherish it just like I did.
Yeah.
And it means a lot. It gets people through things, just like it got me through things. And that's why I think it's so important to have a good relationship with the fans and listen to what they have to say, not just like next, type of thing.
Really, really refreshing to hear. One thing I wanted to tell you is that I really enjoy your Instagram account. And so any of our listeners who don't follow, I think it's John5Official on Instagram, should do so, because you post all these tasty little videos of you playing, usually at home, like in your pajamas or wearing some kind of crazy mask or something. But the thing I love most is that it shows what a versatile player you are, because there's plenty there's lots of shredding, which of course is what you're known for, but there's a banjo video up there. There's some crazy flamenco, I don't even know if that's the word, flamenco style stuff that I love. I actually reposted one you did last year that was like Spanish. It was like the night cat. You had both your cats next to you. It was crazy. But you've always played such a variety of styles. I guess my question is, have you always played a variety of styles, or are you just getting bored with like shredding all the time and this is part of your evolution as a player?
Well, what I do, I have some weird little problems and quirks and stuff, but I'm always playing guitar. And like right before the phone rang, I was playing. And so it's just kind of what I do all the time. I mean, like all the time. And I love to be in my pajamas and I love to play guitar. And it's like my Instagram is so like real,
It is. That's why I like it. You can tell it's real. You can tell it's you. You're doing this stuff. It's not some webmaster that's putting these things up. You're doing it.
Yeah, no, it's so real. And I literally do sit around in these ridiculous pajamas because whenever, it reminds me of my mom, because she would buy me the most crazy pajamas for some reason, but I loved them, I love these crazy pajamas. So I will buy the like most ridiculous pajamas, and it's, it's kind of comforting. I just sit and play guitar and do that stuff. And it's a lot of fun.
John, can I tell you a secret?
What's that?
I'm in my pajamas.
See?
I get it.
I'm in my pajamas too.
That's my secret. You have every right to be. It's 10 o'clock on the West Coast. I don't have my only excuse is the snowstorm. But
well, I was going to say, it's the tundra out there, so it is. It's so cold and freezing.
It's the frozen tundra. So, maybe it's your talent along with your versatility that's landed you so many great gigs over the year. And I could go on and on about everyone you've played with. I want to talk about everyone, but I know you have limited time today. But you played with David Lee Roth. You worked with him in 1998 on his David Lee Roth Band album, or DLR Band album. And then a few years back, I remember you saying that you recorded another album with him back in maybe 2012. Will that album ever see the light of day? Do you know anything about that?
It's really great. I can tell you that. And I don't know. I think, he's in Van Halen, and I don't know what he's going to do with the record, but it's a great record, and I really hope that he releases it one day, because I don't know. It's, me being such a Van Halen fan, his voice on that record, his voice is exactly, it reminds me of like on Women and Children First, wow. Could This Be Magic or something like that. He's singing like in this low kind of like, oh my God, I love it so much. There's a song called Somewhere Over the Rainbow Bar and Grill. And just that, is so Dave,
Great.
So, I don't know. I hope it comes out, he's my good pal, and, we'll see, but I'm so happy he's in Van Halen and he's happy and all that stuff.
He does seem happy, and he sounds good. Like when they sound good vocally, I mean, it's one thing to be, guitarists, you can keep up your instrument. Your fingers aren't going to like disintegrate, but voices tend to change over the years. So when I hear someone like Dave who can still do it, it makes me very happy.
Yeah, I've always been curious because I love great singers because I have the worst talking voice and singing voice of any human that ever existed. So I really appreciate great singers. And it's odd that singers' voices change. I don't know it's because of you're getting older or have more girths to you or something like that. But like there's certain singers that their voices just don't change. Like, Alice Cooper, I think his voice is the same as it was in the 70s. And same with Rob. Rob has the exact same sounding voice.
Yeah, Glenn Hughes. I saw Glenn last year. He's still got it. There's certain vocalists that seem to age doesn't affect them. But yeah, the vocal cords are definitely something. We're not supposed to call them vocal cords anymore. Vocal folds is what they call them now, right? But yeah.
Well, I don't know. Why can't we call them vocal cords?
I don't know. I think it was an interview I was reading with Tom Kiefer or something, talking about calling them folds, and we don't call them cords anymore. Or no, it was like an interview with someone else. I don't know. That's neither.
Is it like stewardess or flight attendant?
Yeah. Don't call me a vocal cord. I'm a fold. A fold. Yeah. So you worked with Paul Stanley as well. And I know you're friends. Yeah. You did his solo album a while back, and you're also friends with both Ace and Gene, I think. So you know what I'm going to ask you
Peter.
Next. And Peter.
And Peter. Peter's, I'm really, really, really super close to, Peter. Super close. I mean, like, we'll talk like every other day, and I'm really close with Ace, and so, of course, I'm close with all the guys, but I'm super, super, like talking and texting every day with those guys. So,
so what, what my next question will be? What my next question is, right?
Well, I don't know. What's your favorite Kiss record? Is that it?
No. Do you think they'll ever, in your humble opinion, I'm not asking for your inside info, but you think they'll do a final tour with Ace, or do you think he'll ever come back? Or they'll have him back?
Tommy and Eric do such an amazing job. They do a great, great job. I think it would be fun to have like an anniversary like show or something like that, and have everybody together. Everybody from the Kiss family together. So we'll see. I mean, it would be something I would love to see. That's for sure.
It'd be fun, right? Yeah, we just had Eric Singer on the podcast. He just came on recently. So. Yeah,
he's great. He's fabulous. I love him. Great musician, and a great guy too.
Totally.
He's incredible.
So, thank you so much for your time today. I want to make sure, thanks for hanging with us. All of our listeners, definitely check out John Five's new solo release with the Creatures. It's called It's Alive. This is easy to remember. It's his live album. I love the fact that this sounded like it was a very spontaneous kind of recording. That makes it even more special, I think, in some ways. So it's available. It'll be available digitally on CD and vinyl. Is that right?
Yeah, CD, vinyl, everything. Not 8-track or cassette yet, but
the cassettes are coming back. You got to get on the boat with that.
I know. I'm a little bit behind the time.
No, me too. I don't have a cassette deck anymore. But we will also be watching for you on the road, going out East Coast leg of the tour in Midwest on February 1st. So make sure you check out, see him when you can. And I think you're going out west. You're going all the way through April. Is that right?
Yeah, and it's like if you look at the dates. I mean, we don't really have many days off because there's no singer, so we just play every single day. It's crazy. We just play and play and play. So we're pretty much hitting every place that has electricity, or places that will have some places won't have me.
Oh, give me a break. Are you joking me? That's insane.
No. I know. So, so when people say, "Hey, why aren't you coming here?" So some people just, they don't want me, or there's some, I don't know why, but that's all right.
That's just ridiculous. Well, we will see you.
I
I'm
know.
looking forward to the New York show. I've got it on my calendar already. Also, everyone, make sure you check out the VIP packages. It's a special opportunity to meet, see you guys jam, and to see you guys do your sound check and possibly get to say hi to you. But I had a great
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they hang out with us, so it's like it's a blast. It's so much fun. It's like a party, before the show.
I love it. Love it. All right. Well, thank you so much for hanging with us. Best of luck with the album and tour, and I hope you'll come back on Talking Metal again soon.
Anytime. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. What you just heard was Black Widow of Laporte off of John Five's album called The Devil Knows My Name. Really good track there.
Cool. And we heard before the interview, we heard a track off of the new live record, It's Alive, by John Five and the Creatures. So definitely support John Five with this record and all his past records and everything he does. He is doing a tour. I think he's about to go out on a tour. And we noticed that he's playing some kind of like random place, I think in I want to say like Northwest Jersey or something.
Yeah, I mean, in the interview, as he said, some of these clubs, somehow he's not able to book them. He said, well, some
It's
people...
unbelievable.
I know. I mean, he's hugely talented, but I don't know if it's the fact that it's an instrumental thing doesn't sell tickets as much, or do you think that has anything to do with that?
I don't know. I mean, I would think the Guitar Hero stuff would he's kind of a guitar hero, and I think that would bring people in. It's like Joe Satriani is playing with John Petrucci and Phil Collin. We're actually going to be away that weekend, but at the Newark Pack Center, which is that's a pretty big hall.
No, totally it is.
And John Five could. I mean, he's easily in the same. Maybe not. Well, I don't know. I guess Phil Collin and Satriani are pretty big.
Satriani's made a career out of instrumental stuff, and John Five. I mean, really, most people know him from bands. They don't know him. I mean, he does have quite a few albums, but that's not how he's made his career. That it could have something to do with it.
Right. Oh, that's a good point. I never thought of that. And I just love his work with Rob Zombie. We will play some of that stuff later on, and he is just so talented with the stuff he does with Rob Zombie. And on stage, I know what I was going to say. On stage, he just electrifies the room. I mean, he's got great stage presence.
His presence is amazing. That's why, in the interview, what he was talking about was just surprising to me. And the fact that he said he wanted to be a session player and not necessarily a rock star, because he is a rock star.
Right on. Do you have any other tunes you want to play by John Five?
I do.
Okay, let's do it.
One of the things I mentioned in the interview is the flamenco kind of stuff that he put up on Instagram. And I swear to you, like way before I knew I was doing this interview, like a year ago, I reposted on Instagram one of these flamenco pieces that he did. And he's sitting in his apartment with his cats. And guess what I found on iTunes?
What'd you find?
The track. He actually recorded it as a single.
Well, let's do it. Let's listen to it right now. We'll play a sound sample of it. And what we do with these songs is we always encourage you guys to go purchase the music legally on iTunes or Amazon. I've actually been buying a lot of music on Amazon lately, which also is great because you can use, of course, the Talking Metal Amazon links in our show notes. But I love the Amazon music because it all comes up on my phone. I have a Google Pixel phone now. It comes up on my Amazon Prime TV, and it's great. So Amazon definitely has a great music service for you guys. And on that note, let's check out some John Five. Which one is this? This is the flamenco piece.
This is called. I don't even know if that's what it's called.
Right.
Is it called flamenco?
I think the style.
Stylistically, I dig this so much. It's called Noche Acosador.
Oh, nice. Ooh, sexy tone to that. I like that. Anyways, here it is. I'm not going to attempt to say it, but here it is, what she said. a little John 5 here on Talking Metal. And yeah, definitely, it makes me bummed out to hear that some clubs don't want to book a guy this talented. So let's all do John 5 the honor of, because this guy's music is just insane. We all need to go out and what I'm trying to say is we all need to go out and support him on this upcoming tour.
Absolutely. And the VIP experience sounds amazing to be able to meet him and sit in through the sound check. I'm all about the VIP experience and the vinyl. He's doing a lot of cool things with this new album and with this tour.
Excellent. Cool. Any other tunes? Because I want to hit a Rob Zombie song. No. Okay, cool. So I tell you what, we're going to get out of here. I want to encourage everyone to use the Patreon Talking Metal page. We're up to getting a pretty decent little tip from you guys each month, and I want to increase it a little more if we can. I think we're up to $42 a month I get from that. It would be great if we could get to $100 a month. I think that's definitely within our grasp. Again, it's patreon.com/talking metal, or you can just go to Patreon and search my name. You'll find me on there. It supports everything I do with this podcast and all my other podcasts. Of course, Metal Raps with Mitch Joel and Mitch LaFon. Talking Rock, which Joey Haney has kind of, I guess, become the co-host on that with me. I do want to bring some interviews to that, too. We were talking about interviewing your friend for that, Tommy London. Did you ask him?
So I did not ask him about that, but I know he would dig coming on for sure.
Okay, well, maybe one of us can do an interview with him for
100%.
Talking Rock, and I got somebody from, I don't want to say it in case it doesn't happen, but somebody from the band A Perfect Circle actually wants to come on Talking Rock for an interview. So we'll keep you posted on that. And
give me that one too, right?
Oh, I think
love APC.
I might do that one, but we'll talk about it.
We'll talk. We'll flip a coin.
Okay, that sounds good. And to take us out, I was thinking the one song I always loved was "Foxy Foxy" by Rob Zombie.
Oh my God! You know, my sister, she calls Rob Zombie disco metal.
Right.
Did I ever tell you that? I don't know if anyone else has coined that term already, but I mean, it's disco metal. It's so hot.
But I agree with that because there's a heavy 70s influence on some of this stuff. And speaking of 70s influence, I think I want to go with this one instead. Foxy Foxy's great, but this one is called Dead City Radio and the New Gods of Supertown. And this is just a fantastic song. Just
I love
total
Rob Zombie.
groove on this.
Totally. Do you remember the first time we saw him together? Can you name that? Do you remember that?
I think it was at Ozfest.
It was
right?
Ozfest in 2003.
Yeah, that sounds right. And that was when he was he wasn't really dressing up. It was like his jeans and t-shirt tour, I think, where everything was supposed to be because he went played during the day.
Yeah, he had a daytime set. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, here we go. A little Rob Zombie to take us out, guys. We'll talk to you next time.